You're listening to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, episode 26. On today's episode, Ara joins the show to get extra about AleXa. So sit back and chill with friends. You're listening to the after show with the SojuTalk Nation. Welcome to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, a chill discussion on this week in the SojuTalk Nation. We're recording on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. I'm your host, Crispy, and joining me this week is Ara. Welcome to the show, Ara.
Hi, hello.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good.
Nice. It's we're in the middle of summer now, and things are getting warmer. And yet,
Well, I mean, for you it might be, but for here it's like freaking raining. It was raining all day today.
yeah, I was about to ask. There's a storm on the East Coast right now. I don't understand what is happening.
Global warming.
Yeah, and also pipes bursting in the ocean, causing science fiction black holes into other dimensions, apparently.
Yeah, oceans to be on fire.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? There's a lot going on in the world, but you know what we do is we take K-pop just for the hour that we're together on the show to escape from it all. So let's jump right into all the fun things that happened this week on the SojuTalk main show. As far as our show this week, no announcements and no birthdays to celebrate, but there are a couple of birthdays coming up, so look out for that in the coming weeks in July. So let's move on now to this week in SojuTalk music. We have 3 new songs. We have AleXa with Xtra, Day 6, Even of Day, Right Through, and we have Soyeon with her solo debut with Beam Beam. All right, before we get into the music discussion, shout out to Doug and his glasses. You know, Doug's really improved his drip throughout the past couple of weeks. I know you had a very specific response to one of his outfits, but you know, Doug's trying. You know, what did you think about his drip this week?
Good. I liked it. I prefer his old hairstyle, just saying, but everything else is on point, Doug.
Wait, yeah, he's wearing a hat this week, no?
Oh, I just meant in general, not
okay.
Yeah.
I thought he changed something this week, and it's like, wait, I couldn't tell. But yeah, fashion tips by Ara. I think she will be a great person to consult with because she can give a different perspective. So, Doug, if you are listening, yeah, hit up Ara, or maybe she'll just ping you in one of the channels and say, this is what you can do to spice things up with your wardrobe and your fit. But let's get into the music this week. So the first song they covered on the main show was AleXa with Xtra. We have a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Ara's the guest. Let's have her start. And well, let's kind of go in the background. So on the server, there are a handful of AleXa fans. I think that's a safe way to put that. One could say we are slightly to very obsessed with AleXa
Mm-hmm.
and everything about her. We love her energy. We love her vibe. We kind of connected with the fact that she is Korean American and a very mixed ethnic background. And we just can't get enough of all the things that she's put out as far as her internet content, and also kind of the way that the music matches her personality. But with Xtra, I wanted to get your opinions first. What did you think about the song, and how did it hit you this week?
Sorry. So when I watched it the first time, I was kind of shocked because the lyrics were very like the cheeseburger and extra cheese on your burgers and fries. Like it felt kind of off. Not really off, but like it was so her, but at the same time I was shocked because it was so her, I want to say. And then the second time, like it's just really, really catchy. So it just stuck in my head. And BM was really good. I really enjoyed the music video. Like they put like a really good music video together.
I think the standouts for me were just the colors matched the concept and the feel of what the song was portraying, right? Because the song is
Like
very
the pink hair.
yeah, the pink hair and like visually the cartoon character talking bubbles and kind of that animation, like to kind of set like the tone that it was a little bit of a quirkier, a higher energy music video. Very much matched the song because this song is loud as hell. Like like it's just so much attitude. It's you know she's rapping at the beginning of it, but it's like very playful yet like, oh, I'm so cool, I'm so badass, but you know, just you know, we're gonna have some burgers and fries with extra cheese and a doggy bag, yeah. So it's just like a combination of just like very eccentric AleXa things that I think fans like you and me are very familiar with her content, right? With her YouTube channel and kind of the extra stuff that she does with different talk shows. So we do get a sense that this does fall into her personality. But on the main show, they did mention that this is different from her AI, artificial intelligence, cyberpunk future lore that she started off with music. What did you think about the crew's kind of analysis on like that being a very unique point for AleXa and this being very different from that, and where they fell on the idea that this might be too generic of a song for AleXa?
I think like personally I want to say like this is just like for her fans and like for herself as well, like just to show that like yes, this is my song and this is basically my personality. For like newer fans or like casual listeners, I'd say like they would be pretty shocked because it's not like her typical style. But I also like how she's testing out the waters because we had Revolution and then we had Never Let You Go, which was like a ballad, and then we have this. So it shows that like she can do a variety of different styles, which I really like.
Do you think this falls closer to Western market appeal as opposed to the previous AI inspired themes and music?
Yeah. I like when I watched the music video, I thought it was more like I want to say 2000 2005 like vibes, especially like the bubbles, the chat bubbles, and then the skater parks and all that stuff. Um, I think yeah, it's meant to appeal the Western public, and also like I noticed that there's not a lot of like Korean rap or like Korean words in her song, so it's easier to like just sing it in English.
That's actually an interesting point that you bring up because when AleXa speaks, she speaks fluent English because she grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But then when she speaks Korean, um, I mean, me clearly I don't understand it, but I also can hear the intonation that she uses as being an American accent. I think you can hear that, right? Sometimes it's difficult or it's not very clear when that occurs in music. But I feel like in AleXa's case, when she does speak or sing Korean in her songs, not that I can understand it better, but I do hear a more English pronunciation. Is that something that you have noticed in her music?
Yes, like so if I wasn't reading like the subtitles, some words just pass off as English, whereas they're in Korean because they just sound so American English. So after I read the lyrics and the subtitles, I was like, oh, so that's a Korean word, but like it just sounds so English. Um, yeah, so at first I was like, okay, so this is like a full English song, but then I saw the title and I was shocked.
Do you feel like that makes her music more accessible to other markets, especially those in English speaking countries?
Wanna Honestly, I don't know because I don't know if like she has that many fans in those countries to like, promote her. Um, but she recently did like the collab with the guy, the DJ, I think, Middle East, from the Middle East, I think, right?
Yes, she did a collaboration with.
I forget the name. I don't know how to pronounce the
Bader.
name.
I'm gonna butcher this. Bader al Schwabi.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
mean, if she's doing like those types of collabs, like I think she does want to get more popular in those countries and like around there. So I think she's on the rise, but I don't think like she reaches full Western markets because right now, like if I look at my chart, like my iTunes chart, I don't think she would be there.
So there's two more points that they brought up on the show that really stood out to me. Um,
Hmm.
well, one and a half, because they touched on it a bit, but I did want to kind of expand it a little bit more. So when BM enters the music video, you get a little bit of him at the beginning, and then you get like full on BM dance battle with AleXa. What do you think about the choreography and the way it was presented in this music video? Because we know AleXa as the dance cover girl, high energy, great at dancing, has been dancing her entire life. How did you feel like the choreography was dispersed throughout the music video?
I really enjoyed it. I think the dance battle really highlighted Alexa because you see like on the side like BM is cheering for her and like um, he's like really into her performance. So I think that really helped. Other than that, like I really liked how energetic she was throughout the music video.
She had a natural charisma about her, right? The things that we kind
Yeah.
of see in her day to day, in her content that she does produce, where even if it comes out very awkwardly, like in her show Hadig, or just in her vlogs where she stumbles on words, she's very self aware, she almost has a stream of consciousness way of like speaking. It
Hmm.
kind of comes through in this music video where I mean obviously the editing and the production help to smooth all that stuff out, but I do feel like you get to see her face front and center, and she smiles and she kind of radiates all that energy into her dancing. um I think for a lot of new fans who are may be who may have a passing familiarity with AleXa, the fact that this music video highlighted and focused a lot of dancing is going to have people very interested in checking out her other stuff. And then
Hmm.
she also released the dance performance video. I think it was yesterday, and they mentioned on the show a couple of times about how dance performance videos help to see like the entire choreography and see a different side of the performance. I think this one actually like yes, it takes away kind of the animation style and like the thought bubbles, but it's just really nice to see like AleXa full front on like dancing in every single one of those scenes.
Yeah.
What did you think about like seeing the choreography with that much detail in a separate video?
I just really enjoy people performing, so I had a lot of fun watching. I also saw like a couple of I think she collabed with four I don't know if it's four times four or like 4x4. Um and she did like with their danced with their crew and I really enjoyed watching that more than the performance for some reason. But it's like really your eyes are always on her even though like there's other people around and like all that stuff. So that's really nice.
She has a very fixed position in dancing,
Hmm.
and I mean she is a soloist, so the camera and the production and the main artistic focus should be on her, but she does capture it in a way that I feel like um, puts her on that level of top tier soloist. She may not be considered that yet because of sales, because of being from a smaller company, any number of reasons, right? But I think as a performer, she definitely has that appeal and ceiling potential to get there
Yeah.
with kind of her natural ability, right? One last thing that they talked about
Hmm.
on the show that really spun off into a lot of interesting thoughts for myself. I had to like sit and reflect on it. Warren and Doug got into a back and forth about um, ZB labels putting a lot of resources into AleXa's personality, her off,
Hmm.
her outside the music characterization, right? Whether that's putting her in front of the camera for a number of variety shows, her time at Dive, and then the popularity of her on YouTube with her own channel. And then Warren kind of pushed back and said he would rather have it the other way around, where they kind of reinvested some of that money into music. So essentially saying, taking the marketing budget, flipping that, and saying, let's just give her better music. How did that hit you? And what are your overall feelings about that exchange between Doug and Warren?
I was like, now that I know her personality, I would say that like she enjoys doing all these like reality shows, like the podcast with Jay and all of that stuff a lot. So I don't know how she would feel if she stopped doing that, because she has like such a bubbly personality that if she was just like like doing music, it would, I think like she wouldn't really be showing her like all her talents or all her potential. So I really like that they're actually investing in her other stuff other than music. What do you think?
I think it makes for a really interesting conflict, right? Where oftentimes like we think it's the music that should carry the artist. But I think with the saturation point of the soloists and female soloists, in addition to all the groups that have been popular over the past few years, the one thing that did separate AleXa to me was the fact that she had such a big presence outside of music. And that gave me an entry point to want to look for her music. Because honestly, like, if I'm just, being objective, I didn't love AleXa's music, like, right away, but I loved her personality. I loved seeing her. And those are the things that I attached myself to the point where going back to her music, listening to it more now, and then looking forward to any collaborations or anything that she popped up in, that made me want to go back into the music side of things and the performance side of things. So on the one hand, I understand where Warren's coming from, that he wants to see AleXa be more unique and stand out musically. But from my perspective, I actually don't think that's her strength, if that makes sense.
Because both of us, I would say, like, at least for me, I got into AleXa because of like the podcast and like all of that stuff. So I mean, I think like her own uniqueness is that like she has such a big like presence outside of the music, that people want to get into her music because of it, right?
Yeah, and then she's able to kind of tie in her music with everything that she does to promote herself. So again, like, not to say like the company itself doesn't have the resources to do it. It just may be the fact that they don't have access to music producers to elevate her music. But what she is really good at is playing into the lore. So, that combination of like music and lore, but also promoting what song she is given. So with Xtra, man, like, her promotion campaign, very eye-catching. Everything from the Instagram post, from the single pictures forming a larger picture on the Instagram page, like, those are very bright, loud, very eye-catching. To everything leading up to
Xtra,
super extra, right? And I think, like, yes, like, the song may be generic, but I also think we're in a weird time in K-pop where if you're not part of like the bigger companies, or you didn't get lucky like landing one of the like really great like producers that are kind of freelancing, like, the songs just aren't going to reach that level. So like, Oh My Girl's a good example, where Dun Dun Dance comparatively probably isn't like one of the best songs of the year, but they do so much where the emotions coming out of that song elevate that song far beyond the technical aspects of the song. We spent 15 minutes on AleXa. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we close up and move on to the next song?
Oh, I'm really happy with her comeback. I think it was great.
Yes, I love it. I love all the things AleXa does to include us as fans. And I do also want to like shout out the crew. Like, they bring up these topics of conversation, the back and forths, the little bits of conflict between the three of them, to help us to think a little bit deeper. And I can kind of tell not Warren's favorite song, but at the same time, him talking about it this way, I really appreciate, because now I'm thinking about it in a far more layered way than I initially would have. So yeah, thanks, Warren.
Also, just like if you don't like Xtra, I suggest like going and looking at her like podcast and like other shows, so you know her personality, and then you'll relate back to Xtra.
Yeah, totally.
But
It's
that's
it's
just
a
a side
whole
note.
yeah, it's just a whole you're picking and choosing what you
Package.
want out of your idols, right? All right, let's move on now to day 6, Even of Day, with Right Through. The crew had a lot of kind of introspective reflections about this song, where the previous song was Where the Sea Sleeps, so another melancholy song. But Warren kind of made the comparison that this song had 2000s, 2010s hip hop vibes. It's very nice and groovy, great vocals. And Doug mentioned that he does like the song. He doesn't. How to phrase this? He likes the song, but it wasn't as impactful as Where the Sea Sleeps. Right. This is a sad.
Yeah.
This is a sad boy song. All right, you are
Yep, it's a sad boy song.
a master of sad boy songs. What did you think about this sad boy song in the middle of summer, no less, and the crew's kind of reaction to this?
So I do agree with Doug here, just because I watched the music video and I thought the music video was beautiful. And then I listened to the song like in the background, and no matter how many times I played it, I wouldn't actually remember the song. So I kind of agree. Like I still don't remember the song right now. So I definitely prefer like their other stuff compared to this, but the music video is really nice. So
I agree. I think the song itself not very memorable, but one of the common themes that you and I have talked about many times about K-pop is the full package, right? So yes, there's the musical aspect, which is the backbone of everything, but K-pop is so unique in that the music video, the concept, and everything leading up to your experience create this full piece of art. So with Day 6, Even of Day, I think that's what I know them more for, is how do you compose something that creates a visual story in addition to what you're telling in song. Anita brought this up, and I immediately clicked onto it. She mentioned the Hong Kong noir vibes and Wong Kar Wai. I recognized that name. I didn't know who it was immediately, but I recognized that. Googled it. He directed a movie called In the Mood for Love in the early 2000s. If you love Asian cinema, if you love very deep, kind of the Oscar nominated like dramas, that movie is beautiful. The movie is excellent. That movie is one of those movies, if it came out today, people would be raving about how it's like so artistically composed and like what the story means for conflict of like romance. It's essentially the story of two people who live in the same apartment complex, who are in relationships. They're older people. I think they're in their 30s or 40s. And it's unclear if they're having an affair, right? And they're kind of ships passing in the night.
so interesting.
Where there's like, it's very moody. It's very much like visually moody. And there's a lot of scenes of rain and scenes of darkness. And they use a lot of red colors and light to kind of paint the emotions that you're supposed to take out of it. Yes, sorry, this is not SojuTalk the movie podcast. I apologize. But this song reminded me so much of that movie. And then Anita said it. I was like, yes, Anita, you are the best. You should take over the show. Just kidding, Doug and Warren. Well, so going back to the song and kind of what they said about the music video and the themes, did you get the sense of the symbolism that the crew talked about with romance and toxic relationships?
Honestly, not really. I didn't. Okay, so the thing was, I didn't. For me, if I don't like the song enough, I don't really pay attention to the music video. And so yeah, that's what happened. I didn't really pay attention that much.
No, and it's fair. I think the song itself, it's a fine song, but I think the crew encapsulated it well. Where the Sea Sleeps, I remember that song, And then Doug saying how he put the 3 songs from this week on a playlist, played it all day, still couldn't remember this song. And it's probably no fault of the group itself, because I think this is the vibe that they want to go for. The subunit is this kind of like theatrical, cinematic, like emotional journey type music. Sad stuff. But again, like there has to be like kind of a hook to make you really remember it. And this one might fall a little bit short for me as well. But I did appreciate the crew's little bit deeper conversation about it to remind me of the artistic inspirations that were drawn from this song and music video. Any closing thoughts about this song before I move on?
Really, I saw like a couple of pictures for Even If Day at like Kiss the Radio, and they looked stunning. So I'm kind of like just excited to see like the pictures and stuff and promotions. I'm not sure if they're like promoting on music shows or not, but the other stuff I'm excited for.
Hey, handsome guys, I'm excited too. All right, let's move on to the final song this week, the last song, kind of a highly anticipated song. We have Soyeon with Beam Beam. Let's go over a couple talking points from the crew first, because I think that was important to at least frame the way I thought about that song, because I can honestly say, after hearing what the crew said, it changed my opinion. So Doug mentioned that he does still prefer kind of the KDA aggression hype music, but this song kind of being a hip-hoppy but rock, angsty, but like summery song with a little bit of pop, with a little bit of guitar. And then Anita saying how all the visuals are very cool and punk, and again drawing from the 90s 2000s retro vibe of being like skater kids in the summertime, kind of just like, man, this is summer, I have a job, but I only have this job so I can go play with my friends later. Were any of those talking points something that hit you during the main show this week?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Doug about like the KDA vibes. I prefer that over the pop, just because I'm not like, I like loud, but only to a certain extent. So, and I know AleXa's song was loud, but like, I didn't really vibe with it as much as I prefer KDA than this song.
I think after Warren spoke and I really thought about the song, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to go back into the lyrics, but the way he described it was enough to pique my curiosity to want to go back. So a couple of things he mentioned was the way that she lyrically composed themes about love, money, and friendship, and very much fitting with her characterization that we know her. So everything that she's done with G-Idol, maybe not the darker gothic stuff, kind of the before, like the debut stuff with La Tata, and her KDA stuff where she's spitting bars super hard. This kind of falls somewhere below it as far as the aggression scale, but I think it's still very familiar with what I know of Soyeon. And what did you think? So it's not the EDM banger that they expected, but it is kind of I don't know, like a very different vibe, a teen punk. Was teen punk ever a genre that appealed to you?
No. I was kind of surprised, but at the same time, I prefer her older style. And also, this was not a debut because she's had solo stuff before. So I remember people on Discord talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just wanted to mention.
Actually, I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. So there's a cameo with Lee Young-ji. She was on Good Girl. She's excellent. She is very young. She feels like she has an old soul, but I think she's only like 20. Like,
yeah, she is. She was on High School Rapper, and then she won it, and then she went on Good Girl. She's only 18.
She's 18?
Yeah, I'm also shocked right now.
Because she has so much talent and charisma and just like camera presence. You know, it's like she just knows how to like eat up the camera without like looking at it, and it's just like, man, this
Crazy.
lady
Like,
is just killing it. What'd you think about her dance moves? She went right into it, just like nothing, no problem.
oh my God. So I am in love with Youngji because so on her Instagram she always posts like dance videos with, I'm guessing, one of the girls from Wakey Makey.
Yeah,
Like
you
she's
jump.
friends with, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
And oh my God, like I'm always oh, watching them is just such a happy thing for me. And I think she also has a TikTok, so I like watching her TikTok too.
She
Yeah.
does feel like she would be really good with
Hmm.
that style of media, with like TikToks and
Yeah.
collaborations.
And she's a great rapper. She's one of like my favorite female rappers, like Korean rappers. So
Flames.
yeah,
Man, that
yeah,
girl is talented.
very.
But yeah, like really cool little cameo there. Yeah, so the song itself initially for me, it wasn't my favorite, but I did listen to it a lot over the past few days, and I listened to her album.
Hmm.
And on an aside, so uh, Youngji and BB
BB.
are on the final song.
Yeah.
The title escapes me. It's hold on one second. I just want to get this right. The title is this bad bitch number. Bad bitches number, right? Because there's a bunch of is this bad bitches number, right? I think that's the title. I don't know. This is probably great radio.
Yeah.
But the song is the hardest shit ever. Oh my god. And it's not even hard, just like overly aggressive, like, oh, this is like grimy, dirty, like trap hip hop music. No, it's just like the calmness and like the control that all three of them have in their own way to rap and then BB to sing. It's just death. Death.
BB's vocals are just great. I think like all three of them like complement each other really well.
Yeah, just man, that is a trio that we need more music from. We needed a whole like mixtape
Yes.
collaboration album of the three of them.
I need Jesse on that mixtape too.
Oh my
Just
god,
saying. Sorry.
Jesse! I think that's a little
Yeah,
over.
sorry.
No, I mean you're good. You're good. That's overload of just like things that I don't know if I can comprehend anymore at that point. I think the singularity would occur and we'd all just short circuit because we're all
Hmm.
also robots because we're all
All
AI.
the good like female rappers. Jamie, and then Queen Wasabi, and then yeah, basically everyone we just talked about before this.
And the thing is, Jamie and Queen Wasabi are in that circle of friends, so I think that does make sense.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
went to Good Girl together, so
Yeah. All right. Well, overall, really great conversation by the crew this week. I think they did illuminate a couple things that I wasn't thinking about, especially with the
hmm.
Soyeon song. And I very much appreciated and respected all of Warren's opinions from AleXa. And shout out to Anita for shining a little bit of extra light on day 6 and helping me think about the references. Let's move on now to the Soju chart, Spice King for this week. It got confusing, I think, for the crew. I think for us, we were just like, it's cool. Like I kind of figured this was how it was gonna go, but Doug had to do some quick math at the end there. So the chart for this week is at number 3. We have Brave Girls with Chimat Baram. Number 2, we have Soyeon with Beam Beam, and number 1, NCT Dream with Hello Future. All right. I have one note, and that is Anita is the agent of chaos on the show. Yes, she is. But what did you think about how the list was put together and how they landed on it this week?
kind of expecting Hello Future just because it was like such a good song. And after like last week too, I think everyone was gonna warm up to it more. Um, yeah, I wasn't expecting Brave Girls to be on it just because I don't know. I was thinking like maybe some other song would be on it. That's a pleasant surprise. Um, I'm also happy that Soyeon is on it, even though not my vibe, but I think everyone else is like really enjoying it, especially after Warren mentioned the lyrics. I need to go back and look at the lyrics now. But yeah,
I think this is a really good example of like a variety in taste, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
like Brave Girls is still sticking around because Anita hard carries it with a first place vote, and then Soyeon
Yeah.
song is the new song, but I think generally agreed upon to be a very quality song with all the different elements that each of the crew members look at specifically. And then we have NCT Dream, which won last week, which I feel like I say this every week, but boy groups is just very hard for me to get into. I listened to the song. I listened to the song a couple times today. I kind of like it. So it kind of works. I think it fits with summer, like a summer playlist song. And
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I always try to create a summer playlist for every year near the end of summer, just so it helps me like go back and look through music. So right now we're very much in the middle. This comes out. Oh, NCT's Dream song came out at the end of June. I want to say end of June, and now it's a good song to revisit. And now it's like, okay, I think this fits right into the 2021 um, like screenshot of music in this period of K-pop, right? And I think like historical reference points like that really matter to me, because I don't know, I'm a sucker for nostalgia and like feeling things. So yeah. Well, that is your Soju chart, Spice King, this week. Let us know what you thought on the Discord or in the comments below. Yeah, I think the crew. I think every week something about this list surprises me, and I'm really happy that the crew has left this as kind of their main way to keep the joy and fun when ranking songs. All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's move on now to State of the Nation. Kind of reflecting on what the crew talked about this week. Um, well, I'm just want to like point this out here, like a very short, like 2 minute segment. Warren went on a bit of a introspective journey, and shout out to him for being open and doing that. I did watch the entire thing. I wrote down some things, but you know what? I think we'll try to expand on that on another show. If you haven't checked it out, Warren talks about 2020 and 2021 going down as the worst period in Korean music, and then comparing it to the early 2000s, where it was a lot of sad ballads and idols weren't particularly memorable. Um, my immediate reaction to that was curiosity. Let's just say, I,
Same.
I, I don't. I'm not the kind of person to reject anyone's opinion, especially when it's very thought out and it's done in a way where it's including you in the thought process. And when Warren speaks, there's something about the way he processes things, and I'm listening. It's like, okay, I really want to know why you think that. Keep going, please, please. Um, just really quickly, what did you think about that little section where Warren was able to, spill his emotional miscontent with K-pop music?
Because I'm relatively new into K-pop, I was really curious because I listened to some songs from like back in the day, but like not a lot. So I was really curious as to what really happened between like 2000 and then like 2004 or 5 and how this could happen again. Um, and like I do like some songs that are released in 2020 and 2021, but like I wanted to know like what exactly could or like what's repeating itself and why these 2 years are like probably like the worst.
Yeah, I think I want to pick Warren's brain about that. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna reach out to Warren. You heard it here first. I'm reaching out to Warren. Maybe him and I will just have a side conversation. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting topic to expand on, and I think it's important to at least be able to articulate that in a space that doesn't allow for, or I mean, that allows for more visibility, right? As opposed to like reading someone's um, entire paragraph of text and then perhaps misunderstanding something because you don't get context, you don't get tone or intonation. So yes, definitely shout out to Warren for doing that. I think the community, the nation appreciates it. And even if you disagree, I think there's a safe space for you to voice your opinion and have a healthy back and forth. With that said, the fun part of State of the Nation this week, the most engaging, the part that you and I look forward to every week, is the game they play. So this week is not a World Cup, but it is very similar. So they had Save One, Drop One, where they compared two songs in a specific category, genre, title, and they talked about their thought process as to which ones they would like to save or which one they would like to drop. So we're not going to go over every single one, but Ara, let me ask you first, which ones stood out to you most and which ones that you disagreed with?
I guess the one that stood out to me most, and the one that I disagree with, is ASAP. Daisy.
You're gonna start with that? Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you start. You can start. Go ahead.
Why? No.
Well, let me ask you. Why is Weekly After School a better song to you?
It's okay, so I want to say because I can dance to it more than ASAP. Like for ASAP, I can only do that typical move, for ASAP to blah blah blah.
The iconic move that is now a trend among Gen Z and Y and however many kids generations are before us.
I haven't seen a lot of TikToks on them.
Oh,
but
God. Okay.
I really like that move. But I think After School is just you can definitely dance to it more and you can sing to it more compared to ASAP. And I agree with Warren about that weird drop.
Oh, that was Doug.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry. That was Doug.
No worries.
Okay. Yeah. So ASAP did have that weird drop, and that's why I didn't really get into it at first. Whereas Weekly, I was like, okay, yay, let's go.
Okay. I can see where you're coming from. I will try to interpret what the crew said, and then I will give my opinion. So my interpretation of the crew, or at least my feeling of the crew, why they landed on this, because Anita and Warren do tend to favor, not always, but it does seem like there's a pattern with kind of nostalgic retro type of songs, right? And that type of that type of emotional memory you have to that period where the song sounds and composition were similar from. So with Stacey's ASAP, I get vibes of late 90s, early 2000s. And Anita, I can tell, that's the reason why she loves it. Well, that's the only reason, but that's the main reason. And then for Warren, I think there is a very much catchiness to the song where it's oh yeah, this reminds me of the point choreography of back in the day. For me, I love the song more than Weekly After School because it's catchy, because of the colors, and it also leans into the animation pop, the animation thought bubble styles, and just the different cartoon images. And this is my personal preference. I appreciate and Weekly and everything that they've done over the past year. I think it does trend a little bit more hip hop inspired than Weekly in general. So that's where I connect with. But I will say both songs are bangers. Weekly After School is really good, but just Stacey ASAP just popped off for me.
Yeah, for Weekly, I really liked their performances. I haven't really watched a lot of Stacey, but I listen to it when I'm watering my backyard so I can dance to it.
Wow. Uh, and honestly, it does fit the youthful vibe. I think a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
than Stacy. I think Stacy's, yes, it's very youthful still, but I don't know. I think there's something like old school youthful about weeklies after school, old school after school.
Yeah, like the skateboards and then the
Yeah,
hat.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I also do think they were kind of riding a lot of the success from the previous year when they won Rookie Girl Group of the Year, that they were given a larger production budget to be able to,
Mm-hmm.
like, not just the song but also the way that the music video had a lot more things in it. Very scientific, I know, but you can tell, like, with just like the way that the sets were produced, and just like, okay, there's probably a little bit more money into weekly right now because of all the success they had last year. But I think it's a really interesting comparison, and I think that was a cool one that they put up, which does breed a lot of great conversation about Gen 4 girl groups moving forward, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, here's another one. What did you think about Itzy's Mafia in the Morning versus Twice's Alcohol Free? It's
Um,
can I quote
yeah.
Doug real quick? So, to quote Doug,
Yeah.
do you like root canals or colonoscopies? Is this comparison? So, I've never had either of those, but I can't
Same.
I can't imagine, one is particularly better than the other. But
Yeah.
I don't know, and I also don't know which JYP song would be which. I think, Doug, you left that mystery there for everyone. I think you need to answer that question in the next episode. Okay, but I think it was really interesting that the crew came around to Mafia in the Morning, uh, and like they said, like, for kind of the wrong reasons, but it's also kind of working and it's kind of fire now. What did you think? Which one would you have chosen?
I picked alcohol free just because I really liked all of their their content and their outfits and everything was just really, really good. Um, Although I don't really like the song as much, but it did grow on me compared to Mafia in the Morning. Like if I listen to Itzy, it's stuck in my head, but at the same time it's like, oh my god, I don't want to sing it. Whereas like alcohol free, I'm like kind of okay with it being stuck in my head. I don't know if that makes sense, but like yeah, I just prefer alcohol free over Mafia in the Morning.
It does make sense because you did mention that you've been following the content and that you're seeing the Twice members be Twice members. And I think this actually goes right into the conversation they had on the show for Alcohol Free about Twice's strength is their characterization and you wanting to be their friend, right? And I don't follow Twice's content as much as I did in the past, but anytime something will pop up, I will just like watch it, whether it's like
Yeah,
a fan, not fan edited, but the like
like fan cams and like all of that stuff.
fan cams, and like how Instagram or Twitter fan accounts will like do a shortened version or like a clip out
Mm-hmm.
from like a
Yeah.
variety thing, and I'll just watch it and I'm just like, oh yeah, I love Twice. I love these girls. Like, these personalities are amazing. They're all hilarious. And then that's like,
Yeah,
it reminds you, it's like, oh yeah, the song doesn't have to be great, but you do love them already because you've gotten to know them over the years.
exactly. And like even though I didn't really like the song, like Twice was all over my explore feed when Alcohol Free released. So I saw so many like fan cams and like clips of them that I just grew to like the song.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't want to say that's like something to fall back on because that would indicate that
Hmm.
like JYP as a music production had intentionally chosen not to make a good song or like put as much effort to make a song great as he could have. But I mean, it does speak to the fact that like if a song isn't particularly received well, like Alcohol Free, that there's a lot more that can elevate the song in the perception of who Twice is, right?
Hmm.
Where I feel like Itzy, I still love Itzy because I'm an obsessed fan since day one, but the song and the content afterwards, the promotional material,
Yeah.
felt like there was a
Didn't really.
disconnect,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yep.
like I feel like I already knew enough about them, but I don't know all of them, and this promotional period didn't make me want to follow it any deeper than I would have normally, or even more, right?
Hmm.
But I will
Yeah,
say,
and like
oh, go ahead.
I think some of the outfits were also like at least for Twice, I was just really satisfied with how they looked and everything. Whereas for ITZY, I had some I wanted to have like some words with ITZY's stylist because what were those outfits?
I mean, it's high fashion. You know, what is fashion? We may never know. We don't have the answers to this. They got a big budget for it. And I also do think it
Yeah,
helps
they
for,
should have done better since they had a big bit.
yeah. But I think it also helps twice that the song and the visual concept is seasonal, right? So like everything with the styling matched how you're feeling with this time of the year.
Yeah, and it was more like more and more. It, I automatically thought of more and more when I watched Alcohol Free. So I already like more and more, so
Yeah.
I was more interested in this one. So
Yeah. Well, it's like
yeah.
an add on to more and more, right? Like it pushes a little bit
Hmm.
further into that summer, tropical kind of indie ish,
Oh,
right? Well, alcohol free was, yeah, I think that was more like tropical, but all right. That's a lot of Twice and ITZY talk. I know we love them, but yeah, but that's okay because that's what we do here. We talk about the things we love with extended conversations. Um, just to quickly wrap up, kind of one last, maybe one or two, maybe. Well, let me ask you this: Brave Girls versus Brave Girls, who won?
when
It was great, right? I think it's and the thing is like I do like Chima Bottom, but they made a really good point about like no, Roland is kind of like the reason why Chima Bottom exists. And I think you can't take that away from it.
yeah. And Roland is just like those dance moves are so ingrained in my head that like I could just do them. Or even it's just a really good summer song.
I'm still doing the Stingray dance. I
Yeah,
do the
same.
Stingray dance to Chima Bottom. I kid you not.
Oh,
There's a moment near the end of the song where you can sneak in that dance move. You will not see me doing that on a TikTok, but I'm just saying it's possible. And then finally, we have BTS's Butter versus IU's Lilac. And Doug mentioned that these are two potential Song of the Year candidates. So, in your opinion, what did you think that Lilac took the matchup for the disco vibe?
honestly, um, I don't like butter or lilac, but if I had to pick, I would pick lilac just because it's more my style. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. uh,
I think.
yeah.
Well, also it gave Doug and Warren and Anita an opportunity to kind of expand on it, right? Where
Hmm.
Um, well, I'll just quote Doug again because Doug had a lot of like one-liners this week where it's just like, boom, hit you with a joke, boom, hit you with something absurd. So he said, "Now that we've had time to digest all the butter, I just had a dynamite time last year." I'm just like, well done, well done, okay, and kind of retreading the idea that butter is like a 1.5 of dynamite where it's still in the same line of modern disco all english song from bts, but what about each song separates or differentiates from each other? And I think I would have to
Hmm.
agree that dynamite, for me at least, I was listening to that song far more than I ever did butter. I actually butter is not in my regular rotation for songs, but again, I am not the person to put boy groups on that rotation.
Yep.
but I will say, to be fair, I do have TXT's Zero One Love Song on my rotation because sorry, not TXT, Siori's Zero One Love Song in my rotation featuring TXT. I got that right, Aura? Right?
Yes.
Okay. But I know they did talk about I Use Lilac when it first came out, but just revisiting that idea of this being a celebration of her first 10 to 15 years in entertainment, in music, and the lyrics being a reflection of all that she's been through, with also musical components that are tied into like her past songs. I think it really makes it like an art piece. Whether or not like it connected with you, I think just the amount of effort that was put into this song is something that really stands out to me. And Mom's Touch Fried Chicken and Hey Look, it's IU. Goddamn. Good job, Doug. All right. Well, that closes it out for the Save One, Drop One game this week. Definitely looking forward to more games in the future. And they did tease a potential return of a tier list that won't make everyone mad. I don't know how that's possible, but curious and excited for that to come back. All right, Ara. Now we have our weekly check-in, our closing thoughts. Ara, you are the guest again this week. I'm going to leave the majority of this time for you. So, got a couple things. What have you been up to? Tell me your thoughts.
In terms of watching K-dramas and stuff, I have been watching this like old K-drama. It's on Netflix. It's called, I forgot the name. Great. While I searched that up, I've also been watching Loud from last week. You already know. So that's been going good. Yeah. I haven't been watching like a lot because I've been kind of in a slump.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a midsummer, like, I don't think we're at the, like, what's colloquially called? That's very hard to say. What? Dog Days of Summer. I feel like that's a very Western colloquialism. I'm still trying. I need to stop. That's a very Western saying, right? The Dog Days of Summer. We're not there yet, but I do get that feeling as well of kind of just being in a midsummer funk. So, well, what do you think about Loud? Was there anything that stood out to you this week?
So this week they wrapped up the performances for like the challenge, like one-on-one team challenges. And then the next part is the JYP round. I'm still confused on what exactly the round is because I searched Twitter and they basically said JYP is picking a team or something. But apparently, like, in the show, that's not what they said. So I'm still kind of confused. And it's according to, like, subunits. So there's dance, creativity, and then music, I think, or production or something like that. And the the production team went the second half of the episode. It was really fun to watch. Like they produced their own songs, and these guys are so talented. Oh my god, I was shocked. Yeah, it was fun. I really liked watching because so they went into the like behind the scenes into like the JYP building and everything, and so at one point JYP was like, so as soon as you get a locker here, that means you're a singer. Until you get a locker, you're not a singer. And that just made me laugh so much. But yeah, they showed like Nayeon's locker and like some of ITZY's lockers and 2PM.
Damn. So that's a nice little memory. Like,
yeah, it was like a segment for JYP, like in the building, and then they showed you like the cafeteria and everything.
to kind of give the trainees hope of like this is where you could be if you worked hard enough.
Basically.
Nice. Well, I think that's an like, exciting like Easter egg for the fans to kind of see those different lockers and kind of attach more to the show. There was something else you did with music this week. What were you attempting to dive into before we recorded today?
I'm attempting to dive into 17. So my friend came over on Saturday and we watched like a bunch of like Stray Kids videos and stuff. And then at the end, like a 17 video popped up and I knew the song, but I didn't really watch like the performance video. And so when she went back home, I searched it up and I watched it again. And ever since, I've just been obsessed with Don't Wanna Cry performances. So I just watched like a lot. And yeah, I just really want to get into 17 now.
Nice. Well, I think you and Koala then will have to connect and get her recommendations because she is an enormous carrot.
Yes.
Yeah. And I spell that CA what
R-A-T.
R-A-T, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it carrot? Carrot?
Yep. I don't know how to pronounce it. I just say carrot, but
carrot, like the thing that rabbits eat.
Yeah, I'm excited. I only know like their sad songs, which is because I'm a sad girl. And so far I have like a list of songs that I really like. My top one is Don't Wanna Cry. Second one is Hug and Sweetest Thing. Then we have Falling Flower and Home, I think.
Those are all very sad boy sounding songs. I don't know any of those songs.
Oh, and Habit. I forgot Habit. Oh my god, you need to listen to them. They're so good. Sweetest Thing is an OST for the drama Chocolate. And that's how I got into 17.
With the drama.
The first time. Yeah.
That sounds very very on brand for you.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, Loud has live voting, and I didn't know about it until this week.
Oh, well, there you go. Another reason to watch it week to week, and when it airs. Does it air on anything that we can watch?
So it's on VLive, but it's only like restricted to Korea, so you'll have to use the other sites.
Oh.
Yeah, which is kind of sad, but the voting itself you can do on the VLive app, even if you can't watch it.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, there you go. More interactive media consumption. To close out this week, the thing that you and I have been consuming together? Consuming together? Is that a phrase? The thing that you and I have been talking about often is AleXa with Xtra. I know we talked and raved about her at the very top of the show, but her content is on point. A lot of behind the scenes stuff on her AleXa ZB official channel, and then her vlog channel is popping off with just all the cool interactions and stuff that she does with all her friends, with BM. I forgot how tall he is in comparison to AleXa. AleXa
oh my
is
god,
so small.
AleXa's so small. I'm shocked. I always keep on getting shocked, but like crazy.
She is legitimately shorter than 5 foot. Like, oh my god.
What, like in her podcast, doesn't she say she's like
I'm
4'11" and a half?
She always says that, and I'm just like, you're just joking. And then like her profiles always say like between 5'1" and 5'2" ish usually, but I'm assuming that's with like shoes, right? And then she stands next to people and it's like, oh, you're wearing Chucks. Oh, you are half a person.
Yeah, that one like I think that was One We that was One We, right? Like the band.
Yes.
And she took the selfies or like the pictures with them, and like, oh my god, she was half their height. It was crazy.
Because she started sitting in the chair, so you're like, oh, normal, that's cool. And then she stood up and it's like, oh, not so normal. Okay, understood. Oh man, AleXa's just great. I mean, again, it helps that she is Korean American, that she does provide us accessible content, and we can relate to her because of her experiences, her varied experiences, right? Where you can tell her background, growing up in the United States, influences her interactions and just how she moves about in Korea and Korean culture. And I think that in and of itself is very relatable for you and I, who are immigrants, who are part of mixed cultures and who come from Asian backgrounds that are not in a negative way, but in conflict with kind of Western cultures and norms, right? Where it's like
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of differences that push against each other, but there's also a lot of great stuff that comes out of it. And I think the collectivist idea that you and I share is one of those things, and it's very clear that AleXa has a lot of the best qualities of being Korean American. So shout out to AleXa. Please watch her stuff. Please watch her. Tell her to watch our show. Maybe she'll be a guest one day. Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, final thoughts on you. Anything else you'd like to say before we head out this week?
Um, Not really. Hope everyone's staying safe. I know it's chaos around the world.
You know, we thought it would be better at this point, but there's some
Yep,
things that are
same.
popping off, and let's just leave it at that. Hopefully, people simmer down. You know, people just need to calm down a little bit. But, you know, we just hope for the best, and we're here to entertain and bring people in to conversation. So, um, thank you, Ara, for joining me for 2 weeks in a row. I really do appreciate you coming on to sub
No worries.
for
Thank you for having me.
yeah
I'm honored.
to sub for Koala. Koala will hopefully be back next week. But yeah, I will keep you updated if you do need to come in again. So thank you again.
Please. Thank you.
And thank you all for listening to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, episode 26. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord. This has been the SojuTalk Nation. For Ara, this is Crispy. Bye.
Bye.